The Splitgate 2 Open Alpha just concluded, and like many, I have some thoughts. To start off, I just want to first and foremost thank 1047 Games for making the OG Splitgate and leaving it up. It's unfortunate, but in this day and age, that's pretty huge. Splitty 1 is an insanely fun game, and it deserved every ounce of success it got. I've been playing for a long time, so its continued life means a lot to me. But now with that out of the way, let's talk about the actual thing you're here for. Splitgate 2. First and foremost, what I do like about it. The art style. The game looks amazing. It is insanely pretty, and I love it. But it's not at all like the original Splitgate. I know a lot of people think that the original Splitgate's art style was sort of degraded over time, but I honestly beg to differ. I think that it was perfectly fine just the way it was. Overall, it stayed pretty consistent, especially with the weapons. This game, however, Splitgate 2, does not have an inconsistency problem, and all of the weapons, the skins, the maps, they all look like they belong in one cohesive game, and it's awesome. Now for the things I'm not necessarily a fan of. The game has been massively simplified from the original. I mean, just look at this tutorial they put you through. It's barely a tutorial. You barely do anything.
Nice move. Now take him out.
They've simplified the portals. Instead of 2 buttons, you get 1 button. In addition, you now have loadouts instead of a preset loadout that everyone starts with. Halo Reach flashbacks ensue. There's only power weapons on the maps, which is definitely a change up to the formula, and there's only 2 power weapons. And on the topic of those weapons, they feel pretty much completely different from the original game. I know that a lot of people say that they feel the same, but to me, they really just are missing something. I know a lot of people are playing Arrows too, so maybe that's part of it, because Arrows' guns are basically just the original Splitgate guns. The SMG is the SMG, the carbine is just the carbine, and the assault rifle is completely different. Nobody uses the assault rifle anyways. In addition to them feeling different from the original game, they're also a lot less unique. In the original game, you had stuff like the railgun, you had stuff like the plasma rifle. There were things in the sandbox that felt almost a little redundant, but were just different enough to make them feel unique. Another change they made to how weapons feel is that you can now ADS with every weapon. And as a suppressed main, can I just say, this ADS UI is terrible, because I constantly feel like I'm getting shot at whenever I pull it up. It's also extremely cluttered in ways that just confuse me beyond all belief. Why is all of this in the middle of the screen? It could easily be to the sides of the screen. I think that 1047 should look to how Halo Infinite handled ADS on all of its guns, because it's a lot cleaner, it's a lot easier on the eyes, and speaking of feeling like I'm getting shot at, I don't even know where else to put this, so I'm just gonna say that speaks for itself. I should not feel like I'm about to die the moment I get hit with a rock from one guy across the map or something like that. The TTK is so fast that I have it written in my script. Wowie, it's fast. And the respawn times can be so long sometimes. Towards the end of the match, you get 20-second respawn times. That's not the only waste of time either, because you spend 8 whole seconds just standing around before a match starts. Why?
He's just standing there.
But when you're not standing still, it's also been simplified. The movement is slower, and it almost feels like the air is thicker, like your character is just trudging across the map. In fact, the maps and the movement are pretty similar in this way. The maps are all 3-lane, they feel smaller, even with the lower movement speed. They also reduce the verticality of all the maps. The maps feel like they sort of begrudgingly let you portal around, mostly just take me from one side of the map to other side of this area. Not even another side of the map. You can't even portal from one side to the other. It's pretty lame, honestly. In Splitty 1, it was all about how quickly you could move from one side of the map to the other, how many areas you could clear in a rapid succession. In Splitty 2, it feels like the map barely wants to be moved around in. And the modes are even less fun. TDM is fun, but it shouldn't be around things. That just seems a little ridiculous in my opinion. And Hot Zone isn't fun, and they should have definitely just kept it as a normal King of the Hill mode. You get punished for playing the objective. Hot Zone is the worst offender in my opinion of having long respawn times. Once an enemy tries to take the objective, the long respawn times kick in and you're basically unable to do anything. That isn't fun. I want to be able to play the video game, not sit around and watch 2 timers tick down. In conclusion, the game is still fun and it's still a Splitgate game, but it's not the kind of Splitgate I want to spend my time playing. The Halo elements of the original game brought in a massive audience that was, at the time, lacking a really solid Halo game. If Splitgate is Halo mixed with Portal, Splitgate 2 is Overwatch mixed with Portal, which makes for a good competitive game and a more sticky game for new players, but the game has been lambasted for being quote-unquote unwatchable, so it's a weird shift in direction. If you're trying to cater to an esports audience, at least make the game fun to watch. High-level players need to be catered to less to make the game more friendly for esports. Maybe something as simple as putting a Portal cooldown timer on the ability would work or something. I don't know, I'm not a game developer. I, for one, do appreciate the shift to an esports audience. I know it might be a little confusing after everything I just said about the game, but imagine this. You play a game years ago, and then you learn there's gonna be a sequel. You then instantly decide upon hearing this information that if the sequel is not exactly like the original, it's terrible and should never be played by anyone. Why? That defeats the purpose of making another game in the first place. What would you gain from that? You may have heard of this little series called Call of Duty. Every single game is basically the same game. This has been a complaint for years. I see no reason for 1047 to limit themselves to making a more casual game like Splitgate again instead of taking this new direction. I may not like it as much, but I like that they're going in this direction because it's different. Remember how I said Splitgate 2 is Overwatch with portals? Well, Overwatch 2 deleted the original game, and we're, thankfully, lucky enough to have that not happen. At any moment, I can play either of these games for free. That's the main point of this whole video. Who cares that this new game is taking a new direction? Who cares how radically different it is? I could still play the masterpiece that is Splitgate 1, and hopefully the new fans that get brought in with Splitgate 2 enjoy that game even more than the original. Who am I to limit fun, especially when the developers offer 2 entirely different avenues for fun? We OG players have nothing to worry about because Splitgate 1 isn't going anywhere. Unless 1047 gets too arrogant and deletes the original, in which case I am going to call an A10 Thunderbolt 2 on their headquarters, in Minecraft, in Fortnite. Speaking of Fortnite, I have a Fortnite video coming out soon. Subscribe for that. I'm done yapping now. Peace.